area, as you know, above landward of the existing riprap. We have a 5-foot by 5-foot concrete ADA accessible landing so that this entire fixed pier is ADA accessible out to the turnaround. And there's grassed area on each side of that 5-by-5 landing that allows for traversing on the shoreline. So it certainly doesn't impede anything. If anything, because you have a crossing over the riprap and then stairs down to the beach, it's actually much more accessible than it was, and you can still pass on the landward side as you would now, behind the riprap in that beach grass area. I think that was all the questions.
So one end, if you're familiar with the site, you know that on the south side there is a launch ramp.
Yes.
You can walk up that. But on the north side, it's just, I think all of the village land has either that cement wall or this riprap. And I think it's, I would not call pointing to the beach and say you can walk down there if for some reason you can't go over, there's some problem with the stairs or whatever. That doesn't meet the intent or the words of the law to say that a path has to be provided, and that a path presumably moves some rocks and puts in some steps and creates a path. And this plan doesn't create a path. It says that you should be able to do it. That's not what's
Maybe I'm not understanding the question.
So I think, that's, to say that it does not have a path, I think is maybe the definition of what a path is. In this case, a path is the ability to traverse around the end of the obstacle. So the dock's not impeding the walker from traveling along the beach. So that was the intent of the stairway, to create a access path. So is it a path? In a sense, yes, it is a path. Is it a cobblestone walking path? No.
So the rule, the guidance in this law that Ed mentioned says that a route shall be provided for pedestrian traffic over as well as around the landward end of the dock. And I think you've got over covered.
Sure.
It doesn't seem that anything in this plan meets the need of a route being provided for pedestrian traffic around the landward end. It's just, there's nothing there that even addresses it.
Well, it's certainly a challenge to provide that from the beach side without going over it, because you have to connect it to the accessible parking stall. So you have to have that access. Now, essentially the way that this has been perceived is that we have a dock section, and then we have an accessible access section. And the dock section ends at mean high water. And then we have a ramp section after that to meet federal code. I understand your concern.
Either you don't have the part over the dock, or you don't have the part around the dock. But it seems that no interpretation of this can be said to be addressed by this plan.
All I can say is I disagree. That I know you said that we covered over the riprap and down to the beach access. That's not part of the question. The question is around the shoreward side of the installation.
Right.
And there is nothing. It actually is the same as it is. It allows access around the shoreward side of the installation. If you're behind the riprap, you can go on either side of this dock just as you do now.
But how do you get to the beach once you're north of the dock? What's the path from the grass to the beach?
It's no different than it is now.
Right.
In other words, if you're going to scramble over these,
there's a dock.
You want to build a path, is what you're asking me to do.
Well, I think this is pretty clear
Don't be so
that
upset.
someone is supposed to build a path.
I think this
And
is
it has to
something,
be on the plan.
something we should just, that we'll take that into consideration.
in our findings.
Why don't we review
Roger wrote the law.
Review the law, review
Yeah.
the definition, and consult with the village attorney.
Well, I will also point out that both the attorney and, our building department here, work for the trustees, they don't work for the planning board. And so I think that has to be taken into account as both these entities provide input, that they're, here to support the trustees, not here to support the planning board.
That's your opinion? Right,
That's my opinion.
thank you. So,
No, it was the planning board.
Jeff Coppelson, Chestnut Avenue. At the, one of our trustees meetings quite a while ago, we did address that. And there is a sort of a step at the
Sort of.
northeastern corner of the grassy area, I think, and then most people use it. And the discussion was, is that going to be adequate once the structure is built?
So by northeastern quarter, do you mean by the fire pit up that far
Yes,
northeast?
yes, and the discussion was, we can address that if that is deemed to be inadequate, because it is not it's not very even, and to very easily put in a stone step there that would allow access that way, which is what most people do now. That most people don't walk across that because, across the beach at that point, because it's not very desirable with all of the rocks and whatever. But the discussion also said that you could take the code, the regulations literally, or as it was intended, which was that around the bend, there were structures that were impeding people from continuing to walk along the beach. And it was very clear that the intent was to not have the walkers blocked, that you should be able to go past. And I think it was you, in fact, who had brought up, well, literally, it says along the beach. And none of us felt that that was what the intent was to say you literally had to be on rock, on the rocks of the beach, but that you were not impeded from traversing the area. And the way this is built, that will not be the case, because you can go right around what might be considered to be an obstacle, even though we have provided for a way to go up and over the structure. But nowhere is this going to be blocked where you couldn't get from the southernmost part of the Poquott village line to come around the structure and continue on northward to the rest of the beach. So we felt that that was adequate, that it
Right, so
satisfied.
so in the world of conflict of interest, that's the trustee's opinion. It's not, the planning board presumably will come to their own conclusion whether the plan meets with the statement here saying that each shall be provided for pedestrian traffic over as well as around the land.
okay, we'll take those comments, again, consideration, but just please ask people that if they're gonna comment, they're commenting to the planning board, not to each other. And not here to make a debate on things on the plan. Okay,
Cindy Davis. I just had two questions. I don't know if you can answer them. The limit on our insurance, I know we're paying a certain amount extra for insurance. If we are sued, what is the limit that will be covered? If somebody had a big lawsuit, what would it do to the village finances? And my other question is, who does the monitoring, like when you have to add the bubbler, or who is going to be monitoring this dock?
okay, so let me just remember now, this is just a comment on the design of.
That's why I don't know
the
if
plan.
should
So
this
we
go to
have
the
nothing to do with
trustees?
the insurance,
Okay,
or who's gonna be doing what?
okay.
Felicia Chillack, Washington Street. So the planning board, I'd like to know, are they recommending a bubbler, since that's part of a design? Because if we're spending all this money, shouldn't we safeguard that pier? Or is it a matter of monetary that we don't have a bubbler?
Okay, so the plan required that a maintenance and monitoring plan be submitted with the application.
Okay.
The village satisfied that. That was their plan.
So,
We're not recommending one thing or another. We just.
but isn't that part, wouldn't that be part of the design? Or no?
The maintenance and monitoring plan?
No, a bubbler.
A bubbler.
No, we didn't design, we didn't require them to put a bubble in. We
Okay,
just required a plan be put together. to
Okay.
Maintain the dock, and so accepted the plan.
where can we get a copy of that
That's
plan?
part of the application.
Okay, so we can get that at Village Hall? Clerk Newfield, can we get that at Village Hall?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Foil for it,
excuse me?
you will foil for it.
Why should we have to foil for it if it's part of this public hearing?
You're asking for a piece of public record, man.
Could I have an interpretation? We have to foil for something that's part of a discussion of a public hearing? Joe?
If you want a copy of an application, it's a public document, but for all public documents, you would have to file a FOIL request as a formality, yes. You would have to just go on record, so we have a record of who the requester is that's being provided. for.
Interesting. Okay. So we really can't see the full design because we have to foil for it.
No, actually, you could see the full design, you just need to FOIL for it.
So why have a public hearing if we can't see it? It's confusing me.
Why wouldn't it just be available at Village Hall for people to go and look at it?
I don't know what the.
No, I think the question was whether there was a copy. If you wanted to come look at it, you could come look at it.
Yeah, that's.
We can
that's
look
fine.
at it in
Come to the
Village Hall.
and look at it,
Okay.
right? Yeah,
Okay. So I can,
right.
well,
Excuse me?
I wouldn't,
You can take it.
Yeah.
Can't
Yeah,
take
but-
and run?
no, I'm not gonna take it. But we could photo it, correct? Without leaving the place?
Generally, you can come look at it, generally, you can come look at plans and not take photos of them.
No, you're not allowed to photo it?
Taking photos would be like taking a copy, and you can't take a copy unless you foil for it. It's that simple.
That's what we're all stating is on the law?
We'll have a separate meeting.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a whole.
The FOIL meeting is a week from tonight.
okay, I'm just,
Right.
want to verify it. I'll call tomorrow.
All right, so if there are any more comments?
So, and this may be part of the management plan, but, and it may be part of the payment application, but, has there been, any indication that, that the village can limit who will use the stock once it's in place? The town may have an opinion about that being,
They do.
reusable dock.
Yeah, that's not really for tonight.
No, that's not tonight, that's not a
Well, it
question
would be
for.
if it was part of any comment to a permit request that, was made.
No such comments have been received.
So my recommendation is that the board adjourn the public hearing question.
Okay.
One other, just a clarification, you said, that the meeting would continue, maybe it was January 29th. Would that be an actual physical meeting, or would that be just the end of a comment period?
No, this will be a physical meeting,
Okay.
where we could, accept more comments.
And one
And
other,
I would, we would, but that's, the date that I gave out is provided that notification gets in and in the proper amount of time.
right, so you do plan another actual meeting like this?
It would probably just be a village hall though.
And, the question of notification came up, and, I'll point out that the mayor, did say in a message to at least some fraction of the village that the next public hearing on this to replace the canceled one would be January 10th. And I don't think there was any effort made by the mayor who declared one date to correct that misapprehension.
Okay.
And so I think there's plenty of reasons for confusion, about the meeting date.
Okay.
I've
Just
just
taken
issued
under advisement.
one.
All right, so what I'd like to do is make a motion to
Under
adjourn
advisement.
the hearing.
So moved.
And those Cardozo seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you all.